Is this what the future of reselling looks like? Hello, my name is Danica and I'm a part-time reseller. I sell on Poshmark Canada, Poshmark US, whatnot. You know the spiel. Sorry, you can see my dirty table here. I'm sleeping on the couch these days because my sister and her fiance are visiting, so I gave them my room. I've been sleeping out here for the last few nights. Anyway, today's video, I wanted to kind of chat about where reselling is going. This has been exacerbated by the fact that Poshmark was purchased by a South Korean company called Naver earlier this month. Poshmark was purchased for $1.2 billion, and people have a lot of thoughts. I wish I would have screenshot what exactly were like the most common replies that I saw in regards to this big change in Poshmark, but I have it all up in here. So basically, like I said, Poshmark was purchased by a South Korean company called Naver, well, that's how I think it's pronounced, for $1.2 billion earlier this month. This comes a year after Poshmark went public officially, started being traded on the US stock exchange, and all of this is just very interesting to me. I am someone who, I do some kind of trading with stocks and shares. I have a few investment accounts. I'm not super knowledgeable about it, but I think have like a basic knowledge of investing. When it comes to this sale, I think one of the most common pushbacks has been that I think this means Poshmark will no longer be publicly traded. This will be a private company now that is owned by Naver. My dad is really good with investments, investing, stocks, shares, all that stuff. So I immediately texted him and I was like, what does this mean? And he just replied, they're rich. And I was like, who? And he's like, the founders of Poshmark have gotten a really good payday coming. Now, this is not in effect yet. This will come into effect, I think they said Q1. So January 2023 is when we're going to start seeing these changes, the takeover initiated, let's say. I think they still have a few details to figure out and contracts need to be signed and all that. But I mean, obviously it's a pretty done deal considering they announced it. So yeah, I think a lot of people are pretty upset that invested right when Poshmark went public. I think the opening price for Poshmark was like $40. It's now like, I think the last time I checked it was like 15, 16, somewhere in there. So they are losing a decent amount of money. 60% loss, I think, is what it was. So that sucks. That stinks, especially when you kind of thought that you were investing on the ground level and that it was only going to grow and that it would be like a little nest egg for you. Totally understand why that would be really frustrating. What I understood is that anyone who is a shareholder in Poshmark has to sell their shares back. My dad said that's not true, so I don't know. Either way, I did not buy any Poshmark shares, so I'm not 100% sure with how that looks in the future. Now that that part's out of the way, I think the other big piece that a lot of sellers are seeing maybe come into effect is that I don't know where the assumption came from, but a lot of people are assuming that this means Poshmark will be moving more towards live selling. We have seen apps like Whatnot come into the reselling sphere or, you know, like universe, and kind of, I don't want to say take over, but a lot of people, especially since the Poshmark algorithm has been so wonky in the last almost year now, that people are like way more willing to diversify their reselling streams of income. I mean, I was not against Whatnot, I just was against it for me personally. And I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I schedule a show, I don't sell anything, and so then I just put everything on Poshmark and make more money off them, but just with more work. I just found a nickel on my bed, on my couch. Okay, anyway, and that's not what happened. I have made not a substantial amount of money on Whatnot, but I'm doing okay. It's not replacing Poshmark, but it's definitely a contender. It's definitely something I'm going to continue with. And now Poshmark is doing live shows as well. Live parties, I think is what they're calling them. I have not been approved yet on the US side to sell on Poshmark live. As far as I know, I should check my junk mail, but I did apply. I'm waiting to hear back. As I was saying, Poshmark is now transitioning to live selling, and I think a lot of people are assuming that with the takeover of Naver, since they're like a huge company, corporation, they do specialize in search algorithms, I suppose, as far as I understand, that there's going to be more and more moving into live selling. And a lot of people obviously are not interested in that, and I totally understand that. I think it is easier for me as someone who is used to talking to my camera, being on YouTube, and I've had like a Poshmark Instagram pretty much since I started reselling, building a community that way. I think people just look at that and say, oh, it's going to be easy for her. She has a community on Instagram, she has a community on YouTube. And I don't disagree. I think it is easier for someone who has kind of built at least some kind of community. I don't have like a crazy amount of following. I have 3,000 followers on Instagram, give or take, and under 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So it's not like I have like huge followings. And I think it's still doable to be successful in the reselling world without that. I understand a lot of people are not comfortable on camera. I totally get that, and I understand that. I think with my job too, I'm really used to being in front of a lot of people and people I don't know and interacting with them. So that's something that I am used to. I think there may be more of a shift towards live selling, and I think if you don't want to do it, I understand, but I would encourage people who are hesitant to at least try it. I mean, you're gonna have moderators in your shows that can block people who say mean things. I've never had someone come into my show and say anything rude. If anything, I've only had like creeps show up and like say weird stuff, and I boot them out as soon as that starts. I'll like make a joke and be like, this isn't Tinder, you're out of here. But other than that, I do see where live selling may be where we're headed. And I say that because the way the world works right now, especially post-pandemic, I say post-pandemic, you understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying the pandemic is over. I just mean like through the pandemic up till now, our buying habits and shopping habits have completely changed, at least for me, and I think a lot of people. We have started shopping online and Amazon way more than before. I was shopping on Amazon before, I was shopping online before, but nothing compared to now. That's a self-roast. And with the explosion of apps like TikTok, impulsive buying is something that companies want to take advantage of. So Poshmark and whatnot are like, we need to get people in here and drive some kind of competition between them and take advantage of this new kind of shopping culture. I think that's what it is. I don't know if it's really attached to the sale of Poshmark to Naver. I think that's just naturally how the world is progressing. We are shopping for our groceries online. We're shopping for literally everything online. Toilet paper. We're shopping for, like my pimple patches I buy on Amazon. I would rather pay for shipping than get into my car, drive to the mall, go to Sephora, and buy these things. Like, that's just how things work now. I don't know. I don't think that's just me. I think that is actually the majority of people my age and younger. I would say 15 to 40. That's how we're shopping. So yeah, that's just how I feel things are progressing. I think it's a good thing. I think the more we shift that way, there is still room for people to not do live sales and to just sell online in a traditional way on Facebook Marketplace, on Poshmark, on eBay, on Etsy, whatever, all that stuff. I would not be surprised if Etsy starts doing live sales as well. eBay, I'm not sure. They're kind of a wild card to me. But yeah, I would not be surprised if Etsy starts doing live sales as well. And who knows, maybe with the sale of Poshmark, I would not be surprised if we saw like lower commission fees for live sales, if we saw lower shipping fees or graded shipping fees. I think this is going to be a breath of fresh air, and I hope I'm not proven wrong. I really hope that Poshmark takes this and that Naver takes this and just grows it into something that is more, just bigger, just better. I think so many of our little frustrations with Poshmark hopefully are going to be fixed in the next while. Faster customer service processing times. Maybe they'll give us a phone number to call. There are so many little like glitches within the app that I think Naver's gonna look at it and be like, what is this? I have said so many times over the years, it feels like Poshmark just has growing pains. It kind of sometimes feels like they're trying to grow bigger than they can actually accommodate. And I think that this $1.2 billion is going to just give them the opportunity to actually put into place a lot of things that we've been asking for, and that'll make the platform just run so much smoother. Also, like, not to speculate, but to speculate, I would also not be surprised at all if they started introducing promoted listings just like eBay does. They are missing so much money by not having promoted listings. And I know I never thought Poshmark would have a share all button. I never thought I would see the day. Manish had said over and over and over the years, that will never happen. That will not happen. I want people to be on the app and using it, and I want whoever's going to put the most work into their closet to be the most successful. And then we kind of saw that switch with the share all button, and that's kind of when the algorithm just went so wonky. It's been a while now that they are doing some testing. They are putting us in different algorithms, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we transition out of that, where I think they were trying to make the app look as good as possible to Naver, transition out of that and into the next phase of Poshmark. What is that going to look like? I'm actually so excited to see what they do with this. I am not someone who, actually that's not true. I am someone who does not like change. I don't want to be that person. I I'm trying to get better with that, but change is scary to me. And but this is something I'm really excited about, and I'm really excited to see where this goes and what they do with it. I say that coming from a position that is privileged because I do have a full-time job. Reselling is not my full-time job. So whatever happens with reselling in my life is okay. I'm covered. I don't really count on that income for anything in my life. It's kind of just like something fun for me to do, and like, yeah, it's like extra money for me. So the way that things have been super slow recently, I'm like really lucky. All my bills are still paid. I'm still eating. I'm okay. But I am excited to see where it goes. So let me know in the comments what you think this means. Are you excited for live selling? Are you scared? Are you willing to even try it? And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do. Give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff, and I will see you next time. Bye.